Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Complete Sports Media's podcast. I'm your host, Darren Campbell. And of course, joining me here on a Monday, March the 25th. We had a really nice stretch of nice weather over the weekend. Really good day on Sunday, and back at it today. We had a bit of showers today and mixed bag of weather. I heard there was like an eclipse. Did you hear about this? Unfortunately, it was so cloudy here that I guess we didn't get to see it here, but there was an eclipse today.
I know.
Yeah.
I couldn't have known because it was hidden behind clouds. So that's cool. Cool eclipse. Awesome.
Yeah. How was your weekend?
It was very quiet
Nice.
and just low key because I've still been trying to get over this throat respiratory thing that I've been fighting for like the last couple of weeks. So I think I'm almost over it. I just needed to like literally not do anything and get some quality sleep, which I did get. So it's good.
Smart. No, good for you. Yeah, that's always usually the best medicine is getting some sleep and trying to fight it off that way. So good.
Mhm.
Yeah, I had a great weekend. I got to go down and meet up with my stepbrother on Saturday. He had tickets to the Canucks game. He's over on the island, so he came over with a bunch of his buddies from the island, and they took in the Flames game. We met up at the Shark Club, had some drinks and some food before they headed to the game. A game that the Canucks won pretty handily, and yeah, it was fun. Really good to get together with him down there. Man, it was busy with the Whitecaps game and the Canucks game. One of those busy downtowns for sure.
Yeah, that sounds like it was awesome. Sounds like it was a great time. Um, Quick question for you. Are the Canucks now done with their 9-game homestand? Is that over?
No, they're playing tonight, and then they've got two more still on that homestand. So they're
Wow.
4-1-1 on the homestand going into the game against the Kings tonight. And let me just check on the score. It was 1-1 the last time I looked, a few minutes back. And let's see where they're at now. Oh, Kings are up 3-1 now, end of the second period. So yeah, so this is their what is it? Their seventh game of the homestand. Two more to go.
Okay. So, of course, the game that I end up going to is the lone game that they've lost.
Yeah, the only one. Yeah. Isn't that Murphy's Law?
Yes,
Crazy.
it is. Yes, it
Yeah,
is.
unreal. Yeah, no, they've been on a great streak. Actually, they went into tonight leading the NHL in points, tied with the Rangers 98. Five teams 1 point behind them in the standings, so seven teams within 1 point for number one overall in the league. If the Canucks can come back and win tonight, they'd be the first team to 100 points on the season and looking really good. They're 10 points ahead of the Oilers, and Oilers still have 2 games in hand, but they're 10 points up on the Oilers. I think they're 15 points up on the Kings going into tonight. So really putting them in the rear view, looking like definitely still the front runner to win the division, win the conference, probably even, and maybe still get first overall. So still on course.
That's awesome. That's great to see. And it just gives the Canucks fans just a lot of hope because it's just awesome.
Yeah.
Team is good.
It sure is. Yeah, it's incredible. Can't wait for the playoffs. If they do win tonight, actually they do clinch a playoff spot. So tickets will start going on sale pretty soon. There won't be a lot of details about it quite yet, but I would say tickets will probably go on sale next week or the following week for playoffs. So I'm gonna try to scoop up at least 2 or 3 games. So yeah, that should be super fun. We haven't had playoffs here in so long. The last time they qualified for the playoffs was in the bubble, and I think it's been one playoff berth in the past like 10 years. So we just haven't had playoff hockey here in so long. I just have to go.
Yeah. So that sounds like that's going to be pricey.
Yeah. Yeah, but yeah, but I'm trying to avoid scalpers, trying to get them right away from the box office. They don't jack them up super, super brutal. But the
Okay.
scalpers usually get their hands on them and then just jack them up. So I'm hoping to get them before the scalpers get their greasy paws on them.
Good luck. I,
Yeah.
I wish you the best of luck, and hopefully you're able to get a couple of like good tickets at the price that you want to get them at.
Yeah, let's hope so. Yeah. Fingers crossed. What else did I want to say? Oh yeah, yesterday, such great weather. Ended up on three different patios, having some drinks and some food. Went to Britannia, which you said you got some friends that are part owners of that place. Uh, yeah, and then we went to
Yes, absolutely.
Fuggles, Fuggles and Warlock, and then we went to a place called Country Vines. It's a nice winery here in Richmond. So, yeah, it was an awesome day to spend some nice quality time on some patios in the sunshine.
That sounds heavenly. That sounds like a great time. I wish I was there with you. I really do.
Yeah, I'll have to call you up for invite next time. I also saw the movie Roadhouse over the weekend, and big thumbs up, two thumbs
Okay.
up. I thought it was a pretty awesome movie. Conor McGregor had a huge part in it. Had to see him naked a little bit too often. Not as not a big fan of that part of it, but he played a good role. It was crazy. It didn't really resemble the old Roadhouse in most
Okay.
regards. They kind of went on a totally different tangent, it seemed like. But yeah, I fully recommend the movie. It was good, and Connor plays quite the evil bad guy.
How was his acting? How was Conor McGregor's acting?
Yeah, it's not bad actually. Pretty good. Yeah. I didn't like the
Oh,
way he walked, and as I said, I didn't like, seeing him naked all the time, but he always has that weird walk, but it was even more pronounced, this
yeah.
time, and it was a little bit over the top, a little bit foolish, I thought, but other than that, no, I thought his acting was actually pretty good.
Okay. Well, that's pretty impressive considering that's his first time out, his
Yeah.
first outing. I thought he would be actually overacting, to be
Yeah.
honest with you, but sounds like he actually did a good job.
Yeah.
That's commendable.
Yeah. I heard that his role actually expanded as they started the filming. They didn't have him as prominent of a role in the early stages of the writing, and then he came in, and I guess he impressed them, and they really started thinking, oh, let's put him in some more scenes. Let's get him more involved, and he developed that, and I think it's kind of created a guy that thinks that that's his next career path and where he wants to go. I saw an interview with him the other day, and he said that he thinks that there's just so many roles that could be written for him, and he thinks his career could really just take off very very quickly after this role.
Yeah, well, you know what? As long as he stays committed and he does his acting classes, like, hey, we've seen it with The Rock, how he transitioned from WWE to acting.
Yeah,
Same with John Cena.
yeah,
It can definitely be doable. Just as long as you're committed to the cause, you can do great.
yeah. He sure looks massive though. He definitely did a lot of steroids. Worked out a massive amount. He's like twice as big as he was in his UFC career. He's never going to be able to get down to some of those weight classes that he fought in his early days. And yeah, it's pretty damn obvious to me that he was definitely on the roids for quite a bit of it.
No, so he hit the special sauce. Now, let me ask you this question. Was he physically quite a bit bigger than Jake Gyllenhaal?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. I
Oh,
mean,
yeah.
I mean, Gyllenhaal was like in amazing shape. He really, you know, must have hit a incredible training regimen, but Conor, yeah, just way more muscular. Conor was just so much more jacked.
Okay, because like at least it looked like it was Jake Gyllenhaal. Like he has an incredible physique without
Yeah,
the performance enhancers,
yeah.
whereas
I
Connor
think
had it.
Conor, yeah, used the juice, but I think Gyllenhaal did it legit. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So, but yeah, check it out. It's actually getting a lot of praise. A lot of people are saying it was a good movie for what it was, and you know, I think it's gonna be a big hit, and I think it's gonna make them a lot of money.
Oh, that's well, that's fantastic. That's great to see. Great to see that Connor is becoming even more celebrity. Maybe that is good for him? Question mark.
Yeah. Maybe, maybe not. I guess we'll have to
Not.
see. But last week we had so much to cover, and I had put some coverage and some talk about MLB, and they opened the season last week in Korea. First time in the history of Major League Baseball that they started games in Korea. They had the Dodgers and the Padres over there, and we just got to so many subjects that I don't know if I completely left it off or I didn't really get into any details too much about it. Shohei Ohtani came over there, and he's so massive over here, but in Asia, just the fandom was just incredible. Everywhere he went, just hundreds of thousands of fans seemed to be everywhere. And then all of a sudden, this report came out that his interpreter was
Yeah.
gambling and had been embezzling money from Shohei and had really done some dirty things behind his back. And it became apparent to the team, the league, FBI, a lot of people. The Dodgers fired him, and Shohei ended up having a press conference today to make sure that his side of things was out in the media, well known by everybody. He said he had no understanding
No
that this
idea.
was going on. He was really just blindsided by it. He said that he did not condone it, didn't know about it, wasn't paying the debts off. Like a lot of things were being said. He said this guy has lied about everything and anything, and he just really wanted to come clean and make sure that they realized that he had no involvement in this, and this could become a huge thing if they can tie him to any betting on sports, and especially baseball. Pete Rose got banned for life, and we've seen other guys get kicked out for a season here in other sports, and this could have been a massive scandal for MLB, and as of now, it sure looks like Shohei's an innocent guy that was just duped by a guy that was a gambleaholic and had some problems.
Yeah, yeah, that's what it looks like to me.
Yeah.
I had a conversation with a friend of mine, and he was annoyingly trying to be the devil's advocate. I think it was more because he was trying to piss off his Japanese wife. But regardless, he was like, well, what if he did? I go, listen to me very carefully. Shohei Ohtani is a very smart man.
Yeah.
Do you think him or anybody else would put $700 million contract on the line
Yeah.
for piddly freaking bets?
Yeah.
There is no freaking way
Yeah.
that anybody alive would even consider doing that.
Yeah.
Nobody would put that in jeopardy. It is not worth it. Nobody.
No, getting that massive contract, and you thought maybe you might hear of some things, people trying to get after his money somehow, but this was even going on, I guess, before that contract was offered,
Yep.
before he signed it. This is going
Yep.
back, supposedly they became really close friends and hung out on a daily basis, and I guess somehow this guy under the radar was starting to do all the sports betting, and then was unable to cover his own debts and started embezzling money. And man, it's blown up into a pretty massive story. And I sure hope that there is no involvement from Shohei. But you're right. It doesn't. You just wouldn't think anybody would risk their livelihood and a massive $700 million contract over making some lousy sports bets.
Exactly. Like I'm on Shohei's side, and people take advantage of these guys all the time.
Yeah.
We've seen it. People take advantage of athletes with a lot of money.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate that this happened to Shohei, but he'll learn from it, and he'll make sure to tighten up that inner circle and make sure these people around him are people that he can absolutely trust.
Yeah, he's gonna really have to vet, the people that are on his side, in his management team, and he's probably gonna have to minimize his circle and make sure that other people are trying to get out his money like this. I guess they were together 5 years. It works out to $4.5 million that was embezzled from his account and transferred to the bookmakers. Some of the conference, he said that he was saddened and shocked. He said, "I've never bet on baseball or any other sports. I never asked anybody to do it on my behalf, and I've never gone through a bookmaker to ever bet on sports. Didn't know what was happening. Didn't agree to pay the bookmaker. Only just found out just before everybody else found out." He said he'd been stealing money from his account and telling lies. He told his representatives, Shohei's representatives, that Shohei was paying off his debt, which was a complete lie, he says. And it just he just can't. He said he's just beyond shocked, and he's having a hard time just verbalizing how he's feeling because he just can't believe somebody would do this to him. So
Yeah.
that was pretty shocking news. And then today there was some shocking news coming out of the NBA. One of the Toronto Raptors players is being investigated for some irregularities in gambling. His name is Jonte Porter. This is Michael Porter Jr.'s brother, and they said there has been some prop bet irregularities that involve him coming into games, and there was a massive amount of money bet on unders for him on about I believe it looks like about 3, 4, 5 games. And so he was coming in, playing a minimal amount of minutes, and then he was leaving. And on at least a couple occasions, he left for an undisclosed illness or something. And so the under was hit for what he was supposed to bring. He was, going to be like 5.5 points and 2.5 rebounds and all that. And these people were just placing massive amount of money on these under prop bets. And so they're doing an investigation to see if there's some issue here, because the red flags started going up because these unders were being hit on a guy that really doesn't play a lot, doesn't get a ton of minutes. It's kind of weird how it's sort of these guys making big money on this, and they have some dates, they have some games, and they were showing it in some of the things that I've been reading today.
Wow. That's all I can say is just wow. Like, for him to even consider doing this and thinking that you can get away with it, because all the professional leagues, like, monitor that, like, with a magnifying glass. So
yeah,
I hope he's not involved, but if he is that jail time possibly?
probably.
Or is that like,
I would think probably. Yeah,
that's too bad.
I'm reading it here. I guess what it's showing right here is the investigation is reportedly based on two Raptors games which took place January 26th and March the 20th. So just even earlier this month. The over under prop bet totals were set for the January 26th games: 5.5 points, 4.5 rebounds, 1.5 assists, and 0.5 of a 3-pointer. Porter, in the previous 11 games that he played with Toronto, he had averaged 4.9 points, 3.4 rebounds, 2.2 assists, and 0.7 of a 3-pointer. In this game, he just played 4 minutes before exiting due what the Raptors called a re-aggravation of an eye injury suffered from an earlier game, January 22nd. So he was able to come in with that stat line: 0 points, 0 3-pointers, 1 assist, and 3 rebounds. And then so all the unders were able to hit for them. And it said DraftKings Sportsbook reported that the under total on his 3-pointers was the biggest money winner among all NBA player props from that day, as part of its daily report to users on the betting results. He did not attempt a single 3-pointer in that game. When the Raptors next played, Porter finished with 12 points, 7 rebounds, 3 assists, and 3 3-pointers in 19 minutes of action. And then on March 20th, a relatively similar situation played out. His props were set at 7.5 points, 5.5 rebounds. He only played 3 minutes, recorded 0 points, 2 rebounds, and left with what the Raptors called an illness that day. And then the next day, the DraftKings reported that the Porter props were the number one money maker from that night of games as well. So it said that day the Raptors were really, really shorthanded. Scotty Barnes, RJ Barrett, Emmanuel Quickley, Jacob Poeltl, Chris Boucher were all out. And so they were surprised that Porter wouldn't have got a lot more minutes. And
minutes, yeah.
Yeah, and so he didn't play. And then the very next game, he ended up playing over 20 minutes in the game. So yeah, so anyway, probably a lot to dig into and follow more, but this is the world we live in. A lot of these leagues are utilizing DraftKings and FanDuel and a lot of these sports books, and they're using them as money-making tools as well. They're getting sponsorship dollars.
Yeah.
And we're starting to talk about this a lot more. We saw it in the UFC. We heard about it in football. Calvin Ridley missed all of last season. And it's starting to rear its ugly head a bit more. And these guys are really, throwing away careers by making these types of moves. I'm not saying he did this, and I'm not saying he had any involvement in this, but it's kind of bizarre that we're hearing about it, so closely together and more and more and more often.
Yeah, it's concerning.
Yeah,
because it's concerning for bettors. It's concerning for like the industry of sport betting that this is happening.
Yeah.
Now, it's funny to me that these sports are super regulated, super tight, right?
Yeah.
But when it comes to boxing, well, you know what I mean? It's like boxing is just the one where it's just like, well, what are you gonna do? Right?
Yeah.
What are you gonna do?
Yeah, it's probably, and it's one of the reasons I think boxing has become less and less popular over the years, because of we don't want to follow sports that we know are fixed and have a result already predetermined. So anyway, let's move on. As I mentioned off the top, it's March 25th, and that always is the time for March Madness. It started last Thursday, and this has been a crazy tournament, because on the heels of last year, you and I talked about it, that the world of college basketball is changing rapidly with the transfer portal, with the names and likeness, and lots of aspects of changing, and a lot of guys being one and done going into the league. And we just saw a lot of upsets happening last year. It was just mind blowing. Not one seed number 4 or higher made the Final Four last year, and there was crazy upset after crazy upset. Well, this year it's been just the complete opposite to that.
Yes.
All the number 1 and number 2 seeds have made it into the Sweet 16, and there was a few upsets in those first couple rounds, but all those Cinderella teams are now gone, and the odds makers and the guys that put the seeds together have done a fantastic job and really got the elite teams in the right positions, and they've all sort of shaken out. There was, as I said, a couple upsets, and I'm going to talk about them in a second, but it's kind of bizarre how it can change from so greatly from one year to the next.
Yeah, I think because of the new landscape of the college basketball game, you just got this crazy parity where it can go like that one year, huge amount of upsets. Then the next year, everybody that you think should win is winning.
Yeah.
Like I think you're gonna see big swings like that from year to year from now on in.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah. This is only the 5th time ever in the tournament's history that all 8 top 2 seeds are headed to the regionals and Sweet 16. And there's only one double-digit seed left that will join them, and that's number 11, North Carolina State. The last time this happened was 2019, so not too long ago, but 5 times only in history. So that's pretty wild. But I love the upsets. It's something that I really go for. You texted me a little bit over the weekend asking what were the upsets that were brewing, and I mentioned a couple. I'd love to talk about some of them. Let's start with talking about the Colorado Buffaloes. They were the number 10 seed, and they ended up getting a massive win over the weekend, and then almost pulled off a second win, giving number 2 ranked Marquette all they could handle. Just fell short 81-77 in the opening game yesterday. They had that opening game where it was against Florida 102-100 as KJ Simpson rattled in a jumper with less than 2 seconds left to give them that win. It's one of the highest scoring games in college basketball history. They haven't had a game that high score in since 2007. There hasn't been a game that high scoring, and the Buffaloes were super fun to watch over those first 2 games, and that first game was incredible.
That first game reminded me of an NBA game.
Yeah.
Because of how high scoring it was, and it was very well played. Like I saw a lot of the highlights from that game, and I was impressed. I was like, wow, these guys have a chance. But unfortunately, they ran into a pretty tough Marquette team.
Yeah, they did. Yeah. Let's see. Oakland. They were able to come in and have an incredible run. And you sent me a really cool video of their 6th-year vet Jack Golke. He became kind of the Cinderella story. He was an Uber driver, and he transferred a couple times to some schools. Finally got an opportunity at a big D1 school. Was able to hit 10 3-pointers in that first victory that they had, and they ended up 14th seed beating number 3 seed Kentucky, who's always in there, always one of the top teams. To me, that was pretty much the upset of the entire tournament so far.
Oh, by far and away, that was the ultimate bracket buster.
Yeah,
that busted everybody's bracket, and the fact that it just goes to show where basketball is going now for the future. He took 23s 20,
20, yeah.
and he hit 50% of them. Like
Yeah.
that's the new that's the new game that we now play for basketball. It's all about the 3-pointer.
They were ousted by NC State, that I told you is the only double-digit seed that continues on. And the Wolfpack were able to beat them in overtime and advance to the first Sweet 16 since 2018, and yeah, ended that run. But this Golke kid was cool, and his coach and him were sitting there talking to the media, and he said, yeah, we had some jokes going on, and he said these guys were as they were walking off the floor, they said the comment was, we're gonna head to the NBA. We'll see you. We'll buy our insurance off you, or something like that. And that was the rub they were giving him, and chirping him. And he said, I don't care. I just had the week of my life, and it was an absolutely phenomenal run for me. And they can chirp me all they want. They're going home, so I don't mind. And it was
Yeah,
kind
you
of
know what?
crazy.
That's just sour grapes, man, because it's like, hey, you may be going to the NBA, but you're going home right now.
Yeah.
Bye bye.
Yeah, that was it.
Yeah.
The other team that really got a lot of people super excited was Yale. Yale was able to pull off a win. Usually those smart guys aren't the guys that are pounding the courts as often, and they're not getting as many wins from the Ivy League, but they were able to knock off number 4 Auburn. That's Charles Barkley's alma mater, and
Yeah.
he was he was pretty upset. He was smoking a cigar, saying, "Oh, we got this," and then Yale was able to pull out the 78-76 win, and yeah, advance into the second round. That was pretty fun.
Oh, and then Kenny the Jet Smith just let him have it. It was hilarious.
Yeah.
That was the best part about it. That was the
He
best
just
part about
he kept yelling, Yale! Yale,
it.
yeah. That was great. Unfortunately, they got knocked out yesterday, 85-57 by number 5 San Diego State, and so they're done. Um, the other the other big team that made it was Grand Canyon. Um,
Mhm.
that was pretty incredible, and very unlikely of a team. They're called the Antelopes. They were able to go. They were a number 12 seed, and they pulled off beating a number 5 seed St. Mary's. Um, they call them the Lopes. The
Mhm.
Lopes had a really good year at 30-4, and they made their third tournament appearance, and they get their first ever win. Pretty incredible. And then they played Alabama in the second round. Ended their story. They just ran out of gas, it seemed like.
Yeah.
Alabama ended the game on a 10-0 run. Uh, Grand Canyon had a 58-57 lead with 5:25 left, and they were outscored 15-3 to just end their tournament. Um, the some of the loss can be blamed on their poor shooting, especially at the free throw line. They were only 23 for 37 at the line, and they were 18 of 56 from the field and 2 of 20 from 3. So they were the Cinderella, amazing, be able to pull off that big upset first game, but came crashing down in the second game.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. But they showed a ton of heart. I watched a lot of that game. That was as frenetic and frantic a game I've ever seen,
Wow.
ever.
Yeah.
It was just all about heart and will.
Yeah.
That's about it.
Amazing, eh? Yeah. The other team, James Madison, they were a number 12 seed. They upset Wisconsin in the first round. They were a bit of a dark horse and sleeper pick from some people that were trying to figure out some brackets. because they had a 31-3 record in the season. They definitely play in a weak conference, the Sun Belt, but were able to get in there, and they snapped a 41-year first round drought. They were able to get their first victory in forever. But then Duke ended up beating them in the second round, really stomping them actually 93-55.
Yeah, I watched that game too, and like Duke wasn't missing from three.
No.
They just weren't missing, man. Like, yeah, they really hammered them and hammered them.
And then speaking of Duke, the Duquesne Dukes were the 11th seed. They came in and they beat BYU in the first round. This was the Dukes' first tournament win in 55 years since 1969. Wow. That was their 9th straight win on the season, and they were just able to really play well down the stretch. Kept getting fouled, and they hit 10 free throws in the final 88 seconds to pull out the win. LeBron had gifted them with sneakers before the tournament. He went into their school, gave them all LeBron sneakers, and talked to their team, talked to their coach. Their coach said he was retiring after this tournament as well. He had spent 40 years coaching in the NCAA, and he said he was done. And they rallied around him, got that huge win, and they ended up falling on Saturday to Illinois. But nice to see them get that big win and send their crowd into a frenzy. 55-year drought, and they finally were able to get their win in that first round.
No, and that was awesome that they managed to get that win for their coach, who's now like retired.
Yeah, that's it. He's done. Yeah. So this sets up a bunch of games starting Thursday. We've got 4 games Thursday, 4 games Friday. Arizona, number 2 Arizona takes on number 6 Clemson at the early game, 4:09 tip-off Pacific time. And then number 1 UConn takes on number 5 San Diego State, 4:39. Number 1 North Carolina takes on number 4 Alabama, 6:39 Pacific time. And then number 2 Iowa State takes on number 3 Illinois, and that's at 7:09. On Friday, it's number 2 Marquette against number 11 North Carolina State. That's the early game. And then this is the game that I'm super excited about. Number 1 Purdue against number 5 Gonzaga. Gonzaga is making its 9th straight Sweet 16. That's tied for the second longest streak ever in tournament history. And they've got a Canadian guard there, and his name is Ryan Nembhard. Andrew Nembhard is in the league already, and Ryan ended up transferring there finally this year, getting an opportunity, has taken the team this far. But they faced number 1 Purdue with Canadian Zach Edey there, causing a lot of havoc for all teams. 7'4", getting a ton of rebounds, a ton of points, and causing all sorts of matchup issues because teams just don't have a big man anywhere close to this 7'4", 300-pound guy.
Yeah, and he's been fantastic, been steady, and he's just been a rock for Purdue on offense and defense.
Yeah, that's going to be a great game. Super looking forward to that one. The other 2 matchups are number 1 Houston against number 4 Duke, and number 2 Tennessee against number 3 Creighton. So so we just got a few more days to wait until the next round and let the madness continue. But this is pretty interesting how just from one year to the next, completely different tournament. Last year was just so up in the air, impossible to predict. If you had the favorites in this one, you were doing pretty damn good in this tournament bracket.
Yeah, for sure. And actually, speaking of Creighton, I thought they were going to lose that game against Oregon that went into double overtime until finally Creighton outlasted them. that was another excellent game.
Yeah,
Fantastic.
that was fantastic. Yeah, they beat him handily in that second overtime, but
Yes.
man, was it back and forth the entire rest of the game. It was incredible.
It was such a good game. And then, but once it came to the double overtime, Creighton took over and Oregon just kind of ran out of steam.
Yeah. And you mentioned before we started the podcast the Houston game yesterday, where they scored the buzzer beater to tie it, send it into overtime. That was a hell of a game to watch.
Oh, that was such a fantastic game. And they had so many cracks at it. Now you're thinking there's no way that they tie this game up now with 1.2 seconds left. And then they did. I love the madness.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah. Yeah, that was brilliant and fun. And yeah, I got to see so much of the tournament already. And yeah, it's been a blast. I love it too. Okay, let's talk about the women's side just briefly as well. We had Caitlin Clark playing today. They've advanced, the Iowa Hawkeyes have advanced to the Sweet 16. 64-54, they beat West Virginia today. And let's see what Clark's numbers were. 32 points today. And 40 minutes, 32 points. Another incredible performance by her. And they are now advanced into the Sweet 16. Huge amounts of almost all the teams that were supposed to win have won on the women's side. Really very few upsets, even less than the men this year.
Well, that's not surprising. You got a lot of very, very strong teams. And I know that Caitlin Clark is very close, as long as she continues to keep winning, to scoring the most amount of points ever by a collegiate player for women's basketball. Like, she's super close now after a 32-point performance.
Yeah. That 32 points might have put her over the top. It was neck and neck there. And she's had such a phenomenal run. The only real upset was number 7 Duke beating number 2 Ohio State yesterday to advance to the Sweet 16. That was their first berth since 2016. The Buckeyes suffering just their second home loss all season. Duke beat Richmond in the first round, and now they'll head to Portland to take on UConn. So pretty incredible. And then the only real upset in the first round had Middle Tennessee. They had their upset over number 6 Louisville 71-69 on Friday. And this was the third largest comeback in NCAA tournament history on the women's side. They were down 18 points at one point, and their top scorer, Jalen Gregory, was able to just will her team to victory. She was the top scorer and top assist person on their team. She hit a lot of threes, a lot of free throws down the stretch, and was able to pull her team into victory and get the big upset. So, but as I said, really going according to the odds makers and the seeding. And those guys should pat themselves on the back on both the men's and women's side. They really got it right this year.
Yeah, they certainly did. And we're better for it because it's just, I'm so looking forward to seeing the Sweet 16 and seeing all these games being played, because I know we're going to see a lot of very close games now coming down the stretch.
I think we're going to see some of the best basketball, in the history of the sport. I think we're going to see just the, most amazing, most competitive games and really elite top teams. There was quite a few blowouts in the first round. I think the average margin of victory is something like 16 points. So, a lot of those teams that were, just getting in, just some of the last seeds, they really weren't competitive in most of the games. And but now that we've got the more elite, more top teams, the basketball is going to be phenomenal. So can't wait for Thursday. Okay, let's just stick with basketball and talk a little bit about the NBA. We had some amazing games over the weekend. The one game I want to highlight right off the bat was the Lakers beating Indiana 150 to 145 yesterday. It was the Lakers' highest scoring night in 37 years, going back to the Kareem and Magic days. They had they were just scoring from everywhere. It was showtime all over. They had 4 players score 25 plus points. LeBron, AD, Spencer Dinwiddie, and Austin Reeves all had 25 plus points. That's the first time since 1971 that the Lakers had 4 guys in the same game have 25 plus points. And that's the Lakers, one of the greatest franchises of all time. The Pacers almost pulled off their own massive comeback. They were down 19 points and just furious comeback. Tyrese Halliburton hit 2 3-pointers in the final 30 seconds and had a couple opportunities to hit some shots outside of those. And they just had one late turnover that sealed their fate. But this was a crazy game, and we're seeing some ridiculous scores these days. But to see what kind of marks this is for the Lakers organization, this was pretty historic.
No, that's amazing that they were able to keep up with the scoring of the Indiana Pacers, because they're known now for their high pace, high offense, run and gun offense, right? Yeah. And the fact that the Lakers were able to keep up with them and beat them at their own game, that's pretty impressive.
Very impressive, yeah. Pascal Siakam really starting to blossom there in Indiana. He led the Pacers in scoring with 36 points and 12 rebounds there. Miles Turner had 20 points, and Canadian Andrew Nembhard, I mentioned his brother playing on Gonzaga there. Nembhard had 15 in the game. And that drops the Pacers to 40 and 32. They sit 6th in the Eastern Conference. LA won their 3rd in a row, and they're sitting now in 9th place, 7 games over 500. They haven't been 7 games over 500 in, I think it's about 4 years, something like that. That's kind of bizarre. The LA has not really been, one of those elite teams. They're kind of been in that play-in mode for the past 3-4 seasons. So maybe they're able to, really start generating something good heading into the playoffs. They start a 6-game road trip this week, though, tomorrow night. So we'll see how they can fare heading out on the road.
Yeah, man. Hopefully they can actually, get it together, string some wins together, and possibly catch the Suns that are ahead of them at 8th place.
Yeah. Anthony Davis got Western Conference Player of the Week, 27 points, 16.7 rebounds on 68% field goal shooting. Had a phenomenal week there. The team that sits just behind the Lakers is the Golden State Warriors, who took a tough loss, 114-110 to Minnesota yesterday. Steph Curry had a good game with 31 points. Klay Thompson missed a 3-pointer late that would have tied it and might have given them a different outcome. Steve Kerr was criticized quite a bit after the game by the media for only playing Steph 30 minutes. Steph left the game with the Warriors ahead, I believe, with 4 minutes left in the 3rd quarter. Didn't come back into the game until 6 minutes left in the 4th quarter, and now the Warriors were behind. He pushed back on it, saying that he's managing Steph's minutes. He didn't think that if Steph played 2 more minutes, it would have changed the outcome. But he said, I'm looking at the long game with him. I'm not just, going to play him 35, 38, 40 minutes a night just to make you guys happy. I got to think of him in the long term. And he said, we've been relying on Steph and putting games on his back for the past 15 years. And I think, other guys can step up when he's off the floor, and we should be able to win some games without him being out there at times.
Yeah, I completely agree with it. I completely agree. And on top of that, how dare you question Steve Kerr? That dude's won 4 championships and 5 as a player. I think he knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
That's what I would say. I think he knows what he's doing. So.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. They Golden State are in a pretty precarious spot though. Houston is actually the hottest team in the NBA. Houston's won 10 games in March, and they are really coming fast and furious for that 10th spot in the conference. And if Golden State falls back one more spot, they might even miss that play-in game. So I think people are wondering, if he's going to manage the minutes like this. Maybe they lose a couple of games and Houston ends up passing them and dropping them fully out of the playoff picture at all.
That would be a shame, but at the same time, what are you really expecting from the Warriors this year? Yeah. What have they actually shown you? To me, not a heck of a lot.
Yeah.
They're not there. They're not what they used to be. If the Rockets catch them, then the Rockets catch them, as far as I'm concerned.
Right. Yeah, good point. Okay. Those are the teams at the bottom of the West. Let's talk about the teams that are now at the top of the West. Denver sits back on top of the West. They are only a half a game ahead of OKC and 1 game in front of Minnesota, but wow, they are to me the class of the West. They were able to beat Portland yesterday without Jokic or Murray. They were both out with injuries, and they were able to still get the victory, 114-111. They've won 7 games in a row. Reggie Jackson led the way with 23 points. Aaron Gordon had a double-double, 22 points and 12 rebounds. Portland is horrible, but when you're missing your top 2 guys, it's hard to beat anybody. But Denver seems to be rocking and rolling and getting ready for defense of their championship.
Yeah, Denver's rolling along. As long as you have Joker, as long as he's healthy, that team is going to be a problem for anybody in the playoffs going forward. They're still my favorite to make it to the finals out of the West, out of all the teams in the West.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, it looks like to me Boston, Denver final is kind of inevitable. The 2 teams that are chasing Boston and Denver, 2 teams in second place, are Milwaukee on the east side and OKC on the west side. They played yesterday, and there was a lot of talk about the possibility of Giannis Antetokounmpo against Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, kind of new guard, and 2 guys that are maybe MVP candidates if they can keep their teams up this high. It was a one-sided affair, big time. Giannis was awesome. Shai was not. I don't know if this really harms Shai's ability to get MVP consideration, but it was not even close. Giannis had 30 points, 19 rebounds, and Shai had 12 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists. Not sure what happened with Shai. I don't know if it's Milwaukee's amazing defense, if they had a great game plan to shut him down, but this was a mismatch, big time. Easy win, 118-93. Bucks beat the Thunder quite handily.
You know what? Even superstars have off games. I would just chalk that up to an off game for Shai. It happens. I'm sure he'll come back stronger for the next couple of games, but yeah, an off game.
Yeah, that's true. We talked about Minnesota briefly. They beat the Golden State. They're 7-3 in their last 10. and looking good and staying solid. The team that's sitting in fourth place in the conference are the LA Clippers, and they're the only team in the top 8 that are not playing well. They're 5-5 in their last 10. They're actually really starting to fade and not playing well. They did welcome back Russell Westbrook today from his surgery on his broken hand, but every team in the top 8 in the Western Conference are either 7-3 or 8-2 in their last 10. Clippers only 5-5, and they just got killed yesterday by Philly. Tobias Harris and Tyrese Maxey both had 24. Cam Payne had 23. The Clips, since the All-Star break, they're 8-9 and 1-8 against plus 500 teams. So I think look out, Clippers. They were sort of talked about as maybe contending for the West Crown. I think they're even going to slip down a place or two. I think the Pelicans are going to catch them and get that home court advantage. I think it will be the Pelicans and the Clippers against each other in the first round.
If that happens, and if the Clippers can't get it together, can't right the ship, I would say if it's going to be 4 versus 5, Clippers and Pelicans, I think Pelicans got a very good shot at taking them out in the first round.
Yeah. The Pelicans are 11-5 since the All-Star break. They're 5-4 against plus 500 teams. And Zion, I think Zion's playing the best basketball of his entire career. I think he's just got better as the season wore on. I think he's taking things seriously. I think he's finally eating right, really concentrating on the right things, and he's becoming very dominant inside. Really getting a lot of scoring inside, getting a lot of rebounds, and being that dominant force that he should be, that he can be if he takes things seriously.
Yeah, well, and also too, if he takes care of his health, his fitness level, because that was always the question mark.
Yeah.
Is his fitness level up to where it needs to be? It looks like now he's played himself into shape. But the thing is, with Zion, you just need to stay in shape. If you can do that, the world is his oyster. His team is going to be that much better with that man in shape.
The Pelicans have not had a very good history. All they have to do is finish. They have to win 5 out of their last 11 games to get to 90 wins. To get to 50 wins, and that will be the second best record that they've ever had as a franchise. The last 3 times they've even made the playoffs, they just squeaked in. They were in the play-in 2022. They made it with a couple days left in 2018, and on the last day of the regular season in 2015. So yeah, it's I guess they have to finish 6-5 in their last 11 to hit that 50 win mark. They do have a tough schedule ahead coming up here. They play OKC, Milwaukee, Boston, who else? Orlando. They have an easy game against the Spurs, but yeah, they got some tough games ahead. But I'm really liking the Pels. I think they're doing much better than the Clippers, and I think they will eventually get that home court advantage, and that could be a heck of a series, especially if LA can turn this thing around a little bit.
Could be a heck of a series, but the Clippers definitely need to turn it around for themselves. I'm still amazed that Russ has been able to come back after a surgery on his hand, which I did.
Yeah.
But that happened like last week, and he's able to play again. Yeah. I don't know how he's doing that. That guy's amazing.
Cool. Yeah, definitely incredible. I'm not sure what to think about Phoenix. They're hit and miss for me, but we'll see how things go, especially if they can stay healthy. They should be able to do some things. The 2 teams that I'm pretty excited to watch are the Kings and the Mavs. Those 2 teams, have a lot of fun players to watch, and this could be a great battle down the stretch. They're both tied at 41-29 going into today, 7th and 8th in the conference. They play each other back-to-back this week in Sacramento tomorrow and Friday. Sabonis has pretty historic numbers. 53 double-doubles in a row, consecutive. That's the best ever streak since the merger of the ABA and the NBA. And he needs only 3 more to pass Elvin Hayes for the longest ever streak in NBA history. So he's doing it quietly in Sacramento. Don't think he's being talked about enough, but 53 double-doubles in a row is incredible.
That is incredible. And it just goes to show that that trade for Halliburton to get Sabonis onto that team worked out well for the Kings.
Yeah.
It really did.
Yeah, that was a brilliant move. Yeah, incredible. Good for both teams.
Good for both teams.
Okay, switch to the East a little bit. Obviously, Boston Celtics, they've clinched #1 overall, and just blowing away the field. The Eastern Conference Player of the Week was Derek White, who's about their 4th best guy in their team. And he still had a phenomenal week. They were 4-0. He got 20 points, 6.5 rebounds, and 8.5 assists to be the player of the week. And that's incredible. That's showing how much depth the Celtics team has.
Yeah, because their 4th best guy was the player of the week. Like they just have the strongest lineup out of any team in the NBA. Yeah. They're amazing.
Yeah. I'm incredibly blown away by them. Tell me about some of the other teams that jump out to you that you are excited to see as they head towards the playoffs.
The Knicks.
Yeah.
It's the Knicks for me. Like I think the GM has constructed a very, very strong team led by Jalen Brunson. Yeah. A lot of people have doubted that guy, and he's done nothing but just play his ass off and look spectacular while doing it. Yeah. I think the Knicks are going to be a real problem for anybody in the East when they go into the playoffs.
One thing that you just reminded me of, when I'm watching the March Madness tournament, I can't believe how many great commercials there are. I usually skip over commercials quite quickly and get to the action, but I couldn't believe how many commercials that I'm not seeing on a regular basis are on just for this March Madness. And there's a really great one with Jalen Brunson on there. There's an amazing one with Shea Gilgeous and Chet Holmgren. They keep showing. Did you see that one?
Yes, I did see that one.
There's a lot of really cool commercials with a lot of the NBA talent, and I didn't realize a lot of these guys have these national commercials, and from even OKC, and it's pretty awesome, pretty great to see, and you're right, Jalen Brunson, man, he has just come into New York and just really guided this team to some incredible heights, and given them renewed optimism that they haven't had in a long, long time.
Not in a long, long time. And I wonder if the Mavs could redo it all over again, would they give that guy up now, knowing what he is now?
Yeah. You knew it. You always knew it. Yeah, you said, I don't know why they're giving up on this guy. This is crazy. He's awesome. And it's shocking that they would even think that getting rid of him was a good thing. And you were bang on.
No, I saw it. Like he was coming into his own, and maybe it was good for him to leave Luka so that he could be his own man, because now this is what it looks like, where he gets to run his own team. Yeah, he's incredible. Yeah, he's an incredible player.
He sure is. Yeah, yeah. So East is shaping up well. The Raptors, they've lost 11 in a row, and wow, they haven't lost this many games in a row in a hell of a long time, and it's super bleak here. And then to see this gambling scandal now just thrown into the mix, man, I don't remember it being this bleak in Toronto in decades, I don't think. And man, it's going to be tough for them to attract fans for the rest of the season and to turn this around into next year.
They're going to have to do an overhaul, obviously with the focus being on their core, but the team, what they got going on the court right now doesn't work, clearly. And now they got to deal with this Porter situation, which is probably best case scenario, he's exonerated. Worst case, he's off the team, and he's looking at like being in court for quite some time. So it's not good for the Raptors. It's not good at all, and it's unfortunate.
Yeah, that's tough. Very tough. Okay, let's switch to hockey. We talked about hockey a little bit off the top. The Canucks were defeated 3-2 by the Kings tonight. There was only 2 games on the NHL schedule tonight. The Golden Knights ended up beating the St. Louis Blues 2-1 in overtime. As it stands right now, if the playoffs started tomorrow, Canucks' first round opponent would be those Las Vegas Golden Knights, the defending Stanley Cup champions. So a little bit scary for a lot of Canuck fans and Vancouverites around here. Not great that you end up drawing in the first round the defending champs.
No, it's not great at all. Like you'd hope for somebody else other than them,
Yeah.
but I guess that's what you get when you're the Canucks. It's like we did so good this year, and then we get to play the defending champions. Awesome, fantastic.
Yeah, pretty crazy. That's what it stands at right now. St. Louis is chasing the Golden Knights, and this game went a lot way to see if St. Louis could catch them. They started the day, I believe, 4 points back. They are now 5 points back, and yeah, it's going to be tough. Most teams have about 10 or 11 games left, and yeah, as it stands, as I said, Golden Knights do hold down that last wild card position where the Canucks would play. Canucks not necessarily will play that if some of those teams in the Central Division pass the Canucks with points. Canucks could end up playing one of the other teams, one of the other wild card teams. So we'll see how it shakes out. But yeah, right now it's not looking totally great. Having to possibly play Vegas in the opening round. As I mentioned a little earlier, the Oilers and the Kings are the 2 teams second and third in the conference behind the Canucks. Oilers had a terrible weekend though. They just got absolutely smoked by the Leafs 6-3 on Saturday night, and then they got beat 5-3 by Ottawa on Sunday after they were up 3-1. And going into the third period, they gave up 4 goals, and Ottawa ended up beating them 5-3. Not sure what's wrong with the Oilers. They've had such a crazy up and down year. Terrible start, 16-game win streak in the middle. Now they're back struggling. I don't know what's wrong with them. I still don't hope the Canucks have to play them, but you know, they might be going on a downslide just as the playoffs start and might get knocked off by somebody else.
Which sucks for the Oilers because, like you said, they've been on such a roller coaster this entire season. So I'm sure Oilers fans are hoping that there's still another upswing left in them, but I guess we'll see.
We'll see. Yeah. Canucks were dealt a bit of bad news. They're fairly newly acquired Elias Lindholm is out. He has been handling an undisclosed injury. They say he's day to day right now. We'll see how serious it is. He has not been playing well, and there was some speculation that that's one of the reasons why. It was because he was banged up. We hope that he gets healthy for the playoffs. They'll need him in a second or third center role, so it'd be great. One of the cool things that happened on Saturday night was JT Miller was having a phenomenal game, and the crowd started chanting JT Miller, JT Miller. They kept chanting that, and his young daughter was at the game and started hearing her dad's name being chanted in the stadium. And I guess her mom or somebody took a video of her reaction and just hearing her dad's name being yelled and chanted by fans around. It's one of the coolest videos you ever see. He said it just touched him beyond belief that the fans were chanting her dad's name, and she was so happy. And surprised by it. It was very, very neat.
And all he had to do was play awesome. So JT, that's all you got to keep doing.
Just keep it up.
Continue playing awesome, and we're going to continue chanting your name.
Yeah, that's it. Just keep it up, man. Keep it up.
Keep it up.
Yeah, it was cool. It was great to see. There was a few milestones hit over the weekend. And some guys chasing milestones. We talked about Alex Ovechkin. He got another 2 goals yesterday. He's been on quite the streak lately, and getting a lot of goals in the last bit. He scored 8 goals in the last 5 games. He's up to 26 now on the season, and he just sits 46 behind Wayne Gretzky now. So he's got 12 more games to play. If he gets 4 goals in the last 12 games, he hits 30 goals for his 18th season, which breaks the record that he currently has tied with Mike Gartner in 17 seasons of 30 goals or more. If he can get, let's say, 10, he's got an actual doable number maybe for next year. I didn't think it was possible. He had such a horrible start to the season. I think he had 8 goals in the first 35 games or something. And now he's up to 26, and he's really popping them in fast and furious. And yeah, he sits at 848 goals, just 46 from behind from tying the great one. It's actually doable. And you and I kind of just said it wasn't last week, but maybe it is.
Maybe it is. Maybe. But again, I think Ovi would do himself some service if he got in a better shape. Then he has a better chance of catching like the great one.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'm sorry, man. I don't know if he can do it. I still have my doubts, Ovi. I still do. You hearing me, Ovi? I have my doubts. I have.
Get in shape, buddy. Yep. Jason's doubting you, so prove him wrong. Prove him wrong. Two players hit the 50 goal mark over the weekend. Sam Reinhart of the Florida Panthers and Zach Hyman of the Oilers. Hyman became the only the 3rd player in history to get his first 50 goal season at the age of 31 or older. Pretty impressive. His previous high for goals in a season was 36. So being able to play with Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl, he's hit that 50 goal mark, and McDavid hit the 90 assist mark on the same goal. And man, it's phenomenal to watch. We talked about the Oilers struggling, but that line and these guys are firing on cylinders, still scoring a ton of goals.
Yeah. You know what? When you have to play with like super talented guys like that, and possibly the best guy in the league, it's so much easier to score goals when they're that good.
Yeah. Yeah, good point. There's, as I mentioned, he's the 3rd player to only do it to get his first 50 goal season after the age of 30. Hyman did it this year. Joey Mullen did it at age 32, got 51 goals, and back in 88-89. And Johnny Busick for the old big bad Boston Bruins in 70-71. He was 35 years old, and he got 51 goals. Hyman's on a pace for about 60 goals, so it's very, very impressive. Connor McDavid has that 90 assists, chasing 100. He has I guess a dozen games to get that. There's only 3 players in the history of the NHL that have had 100 assists: Wayne Gretzky, Mario Lemieux, and Bobby Orr. Only 3 guys. So it would be a historic mark if he can hit 100 assists this season.
If anybody can do it, it's definitely him. But I'd love to know how many times Wayne Gretzky actually did that, because I think Mary Lemieux and Bobby Orr probably only did it once, and then Wayne Gretzky probably did it 3, 4, or 5 times.
Yeah. I think Gretzky did it like 10 times or something crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I think Bobby did it. Yeah, I think Bobby did it once or twice, and then Lemieux once or twice. But yeah,
Yeah.
Wayne did it like 10 times. It seems like, yeah. And then Austin Matthews is still leading the goal scoring club, 58 goals right now, and still kicking butt. Chasing that 70, and there hasn't been a 70 goal score since 1992-93. And then the other one is Nathan McKinnon. He has a goal in every single home game this year. And if he can keep that up and finish that streak till the end of the season, he'll be the only second player to ever be able to do that. Wayne Gretzky is the only other to actually do that. Wayne, they only had 80 games back then. He did it in every game, the Oilers schedule that season. I think there's 6 games left for McKinnon to do it, 34 right now currently. So he needs another 6 to get that 40 mark.
Hopefully he can do it and then tie the great one. You gotta love just how many records that guy has. Where it's just like, oh yeah, there's only one guy that's never done that, Wayne Gretzky. Again, there's only one guy that's ever done that, Wayne Gretzky. It's like, oh, okay, so if I can at least get this, I'm that close to greatness. That's a feather in your cap. That's pretty impressive.
Wayne Gretzky retired in 1999. He had 61 NHL records in the record book, and I think as of this year, I think he still has about almost 60. Like he has like he still has them all. You know, he hasn't been playing in 25 years, and he has almost
Yeah.
50 record that he still set. So yeah, it's mind blowing. It's incredible. Yeah, he has. They should just call it the Wayne Gretzky record book and just call it a
Yeah.
day because it's incredible what he's done, what he did.
No, it is. It's absolutely incredible. And if you are able to eclipse any of his records, then you have done something special because just doing that in itself is just unbelievable.
Amazing. Yeah, absolutely amazing. Yeah. Okay, just a couple of news and notes. I wanted to mention MLB. We talked about Shohei Ohtani off the top, but the regular season starts this week, starts Thursday. 162 games in 180 days. The marathon starts. Toronto stays down in Florida. They were down there in Dunedin for spring training. They will play the Tampa Bay Devil Rays in that series. First pitch goes 1:10 Pacific time, opening day on Thursday. And the first game of the season is the Mets and the Brewers that day, 10 a.m. Pacific. 15 games on the slate. As I mentioned, they did start the season in Korea, but that was last week. And then they got them to fly back. But the real season will start Thursday, and can't wait. It's going to be amazing.
Oh, it's going to be fun. It's going to be exciting. And yeah, let the games begin.
Yeah. Okay, we had a great golf tournament this past weekend, and Peter Malnati got his first PGA win in 9 years. He said, "Hallelujah, live. Thank you for getting rid of all the good guys. Now I can win." He was able to get a huge victory. 9 long years he's been waiting. That was huge. Mackenzie Hughes, Canadian, had the lead with about 9 holes to play, ended up getting a couple bogeys, fell down, ended up falling a little bit down, but had an absolutely phenomenal tournament. And the Canadians did really well. I was really impressed to see so many good Canadians way up top of the leaderboard, and it was a fun tournament.
It's great that the talent is now spread out and it's giving other guys a chance to shine.
Yeah.
And that's a good thing. I think that's a really good thing.
Yeah, very good. Yeah, as I mentioned, Mackenzie Hughes, he ended up in third place, tied for third at 9 under. Adam Hadwin was 5 under. That's the Abbotsford native. Oh no, sorry, he was 8 under, tied for 5th. Then we had Roger Sloan, 49th. Also, Adam Svensson from Abbotsford, 49th. And Nick Taylor was also made the cut, and he finished in 64th. So 5 Canadians making the cut and getting in there. It was pretty damn impressive. I did want to mention the F1 as well. We finally had someone but Max Verstappen win. Carlos Sainz from Ferrari and Charles Leclerc from Ferrari were 1 and 2, and Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri were 3rd and 4th from in the McLarens. Verstappen had some kind of brake issues where his brakes just stuck locked. He could not really race at his full speed, and his brakes ended up locking so long that they caught on fire and just completely just fried the whole back end of the car. He was unable to finish and had to pull out early on in the race, and Ferraris took advantage and were able to get 1-2 on the podium.
So that's the only chance that they have to win. Was a catastrophic failure on Max Verstappen's car for them to win. Okay, that's cool. That doesn't bode well for any team going forward. It's like, yeah. So we have to pray for that every time he races. Please, please, God.
Yeah, it seems like it. But huge win. They got the constructors trophy that day as well, getting 1st and 2nd place. The 2 Mercedes cars both ended up having a terrible day. Lewis Hamilton was knocked out with some troubles with the car early, couldn't finish, and then George Russell crashed on the final lap and did not finish. So really tough on Mercedes. Ended up being the last 3 cars, Russell, Hamilton, and Verstappen, the 3 guys that could not finish the race.
Yeah, that sucks that he crashed and wasn't able to finish the race. That's unfortunate.
Yeah, very tough. And then I wanted to mention Soccer Canada. Team Canada beat Trinidad and Tobago 2-0 yesterday to qualify for the Copa America tournament for the first time ever. They have some amazing games coming up against some top teams. They get to play the defending World Cup champion Argentina in this Copa America tournament. And man, is that ever going to be exciting? Let's see what the date of that is. It's June the 20th. And then they also get to play Peru and Chile in this tournament. Really great that they're getting to play this high level competition as they try to gear up and get ready for the World Cup that's coming here in 2026. And nice that they were finally able to get into this tournament and play some of the top teams from this side of the world.
No, that's excellent for them so that they can gear up, as you said, for the World Cup and play this high-end talent, and so they can have a better idea of how they measure up against these teams.
Yeah. Vancouver Whitecaps unfortunately took their first loss of the season. They still sit 3rd in the Western Conference, and they should fare better this coming weekend. They let in a late goal against Real Salt Lake to lose 2-1, and yeah, hopefully they can regroup coming up. Okay, let's get into the UFC. We had UFC Vegas 89 at the stinking Apex again. No atmosphere, crappy there. Just really hope they can stop having events there. But this was a really, really, really weak card too on paper. Only 1 ranked fighter on the entire card, and yeah, it didn't look great on paper, but ended up having some pretty intriguing matchups and pretty good fights all in all. The main event was, I guess, just okay. I kind of feel like both these women, Amanda Hebus and Rose Namajunas, just don't have the killer instinct that I like to see in fighters, and especially wanting to showcase yourself in a main event. I thought Rose won the fight. I had her winning three rounds to two, but I wasn't totally blown away and impressed. She needed a big win coming off of not winning in 2.5 years, having a couple of really tough losses. And I thought she really needed to showcase and really show that killer instinct. It wasn't there. She gets the win, but I didn't think it was as impressive fashion as she needed to have.
I thought she could have put pedal to the metal in the 5th round, and instead she coasted.
Yeah.
She played it safe. She coasted. She got the win, which is what she wanted, which is what she needed. But she didn't really go for it. You know what I mean? Like, she could have, and she has the skill to really go for it, but she did not do it. She played it safe. Her grappling was superior to Ribas's. Every time it went to the mat, she definitely had the advantage there, and she was able to snipe her from distance. Great win by Rose, but at the same time, it felt like she still left a little bit on the table.
Yeah. Yeah, unfortunately, yeah, I just didn't feel like she just had that that go and just, really, really stamp something on her win. So where does she go from here? I got the rankings in front of me. She wasn't ranked going into this fight. She's
Nope.
she's moved up from strawweight to flyweight, so that's one of the reasons why she wasn't ranked. But Hebus came in 8th ranked. I guess she takes that position now. And then the fighters around her, Natalia Silva, Caitlin Chukagian, who we saw, Sermanian or whatever her married name is now. Jessica Andra,
Yeah.
she's fought her twice and has 1-1 against her. I don't see her beating people like Macy Barber, Manon Fiorio, who just beat her. I don't see her beating Erin Blanchfield. Furio and Blanchfield are fighting actually this weekend against each other.
Yeah.
I don't see her competing against the champion or Shevchenko. So where does she go from here? Where does she go?
I think she fights. It's not her name anymore, but Chukagian.
Okay.
That's what I would say. I would say that would probably should be maybe her next step up in competition, because she has to fight somebody above her. She's not going to fight anybody below her. That doesn't make any sense.
Okay.
So I would say that fight would probably make sense.
She has 2 victories over Zhang Weili. But she's said, who's the strawweight champion, but she said that she doesn't think she can make strawweight anymore. So, which is kind of strange, but in UFC 300, Zhang will fight Yan Xiaonan to see who the champion emerges. I think her best bet is to go back and fight whoever wins that fight, to me.
It would be great, but if she's saying that she can't make that weight anymore, or she can't make it safely, then she can't make it.
Yeah,
then it's out of the question, right? So
maybe not.
Yeah.
I find Amanda Hebus just also, to me, a strawweight. She doesn't seem like she's big enough to be a flyweight, and just as sort of middling. She's ranked number 7 in the strawweight and ranked number 8 in the flyweight. I don't know if she drops 1 spot or 2 spots. I don't know in that flyweight ranking with this loss, but yeah. Anyway, we'll see what Rose does. Great that she got a win after 2.5 years, but I think she needed to really just put a bigger stamp on it and show that killer instinct. Go for it in that last round, like you say. I would have preferred that a lot. Okay, lots of fights on this card, but the fight that's getting the most attention is a fight between 2 guys that were coming in on their UFC debuts, very early on in the card. And we're talking about it because one guy bit the other guy, and he gets a disqualification. He gets kicked out of the UFC. He's getting a fine and a suspension from the Nevada State Athletic Commission, and might have ruined his career. And that's all that people are chatting about on this card today. Every time I put onto any podcast, onto any talk about MMA, it was talking about this bite. Andre Lima was fighting Igor Da Silva, two guys from Brazil, and Da Silva ended up biting Lima. They showed it, and it was very embedded, brutal bite mark on his bicep. And yeah, he's that's it. His UFC career is done for now, and this is crazy. I'm shocked. It wasn't like it was super one-sided and he was getting beat down, and I don't know what happened to him. I don't know why he did it. It was very strange.
He had a Mike Tyson moment.
Yeah.
He had a Mike Tyson moment. Like literally he lost his mind. He had a Mike Tyson moment. The thing that I guess, if you're going to bite somebody that I was impressed by, because he has a mouth guard in, right? You could clearly see teeth marks through the mouth guard on that guy's arm. I was like, did he try to eat him through the mouth guard? Like, I was like, wow, man, like that's impressive. But the man lost his mind. I don't know why he would do that. I don't know why he would put everything in jeopardy, because now that you've done that, and it's the Athletic State Commission of Nevada, they're probably not ever going to allow him to fight there ever again.
Yeah.
Like, you're done. Like, forget it. You're a menace. I don't know what the heck you're doing, but you're not fighting here. And then other athletic commissions will be like, well, if they're saying no, we don't want you fighting here either. So he might have just screwed himself to fight in the U.S., period.
Yeah, might have. Yeah, insane.
Yeah.
Do you think that was a mouth guard? Do you think you can get indents on a guy's arm that severe with a mouth guard in? Do you think he spit it out, or
he had to have had it in, because that's what you have to have your mouth guard in when you fight. I don't know if he spat it out at some point in time and then tried to take a bite out of the guy, because that don't make any sense either, because the ref would have stepped in to give him his mouth guard at some point in time, right? Yeah. So I don't know, man. Like, I just remember seeing the bite marks and how perfect they were, and I'm like, how the heck did he do that with the mouth guard? Like, how did he do that?
I know. Yeah, it was mind blowing, and it's so small and perfectly shaped. It was the weirdest bite I've ever seen. Yeah. You mentioned Tyson, and Lorraine said, "Oh, he just wanted to be like Mike," and she brought up that old commercial they had about Jordan, and yeah, Tyson. When Tyson bit Holyfield's piece of his ear off and spit it out, and he got DQ'd, he ended up getting fined $3 million, and he had his license revoked. He wasn't able to fight in Nevada anymore. I don't know if he ever did fight there again. I didn't see that today, but they said that he doesn't even Da Silva will not even get his show money. He will not get paid 1 cent for even coming to the fight at all, and good chance that he's going to get a fine and a suspension too.
As he should. Yeah. That's unacceptable. Like, you can't do that.
Yeah.
You shouldn't do that. Sorry.
Mike Tyson obviously, continued his career. There are other incidents of biting of guys, and guys have been able to resurrect their careers. So, maybe this isn't the end of him, but this is, really pissed off Dana White, the UFC brass, that athletic commission, like we mentioned, and probably a lot of others that will be like, why would we, give this guy a license to fight in our jurisdiction if he's going to do stupid stuff like that? We can't trust him, can we?
Exactly. Like, that's what I would look at that and be like, there's no way we can trust this guy
Yeah.
going forward, fighting for in our commission or anywhere else. I would never trust an individual that would do that. He wouldn't be fighting under my commission for sure.
I've mentioned Lionel Messi being off the pitch for the last little while with an injury. They brought in Luis Suarez to help him and get Miami a title this year. Suarez has 3 biting incidents in his career, and it's been pretty insane. He bit he bit a guy in the World Cup back in 2010. No, 2014 World Cup. He bit a guy from Italy, and he got kicked out of the tournament, suspended for 9 games. That was his 3rd suspension. In 2010, he got suspended 7 games for biting a guy on the shoulder. In 2013, he got suspended 10 games for biting a guy on the arm. And he's yeah, 33 different times he's bit a guy while they've been playing, and he got suspended and came back, and considered still one of the greatest soccer players of all time. But you know, he will always be remembered for biting guys, and yeah, lost his mind 3 separate times, which is pretty bizarre.
One of the greatest players we've ever seen, but a notorious biter.
Yeah.
Notorious biter. I don't get it. I don't understand that. I don't get that. Like, it's like, dude, if you're hungry, just come off and we'll give you something to eat. Don't try to eat people. Don't do that.
No.
Don't do that.
And good on good on Andre Lima for handling it well. He decided to go get a tattoo of it on his arm. Dana White ended up saying he's going to pay him $25,000 for the bite. When he saw that he tattooed it on his arm, he said he's actually sending him another $25K. So first ever bite bonus, and he ends up getting $50K for his troubles there. Pretty wild.
That's it. Well, you know what? That's the cool thing about Dana White. He can have a laugh. He can smile about it and say, all right, that's actually pretty funny. You know what? You're a good sport about it. Here's some more money. Good stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, let's kind of blast through the card. Let's talk about the heavyweight co-main event. Carl Williams was supposed to fight Junior Taffa. Justin and Junior switched places. Probably same result was going to come about. The Taffa boys are known for their power and their knockouts, not known for their grappling. Carl Williams ended up using a very smart style, getting the fight, grappling, getting the fight to the ground, and winning that way. Taffa had him in all sorts of trouble in that 3rd round, and had landed a couple of bombs, but Williams had enough wits about him to get the fight to a spot where he wasn't going to get hit more, and was able to grind out this decision victory. Smart win.
Smart win. He took the fight to where he knew he could win the fight, because if it was going to stay standing any longer, he was going to get knocked out.
Yeah,
like that was what was pretty evident to me as I was watching the fight. So smart win by Williams, took it to the ground, superior grappling, and that's what the Taffas, both brothers, need to work on that. They need to work on their takedown defense and how to get up immediately if they're ever grounded. If those 2 guys can figure that out, they're going to be so much harder to beat. So much harder.
I hope they can, yeah, because they're entertaining fighters, but they got to get more well-rounded and stop that from happening to them.
Yeah.
We mentioned Edmund Shabazian coming in, fighting for his UFC life. If he loses this fight against AJ Dobson, who is a late replacement, probably walks the unemployment line. And Shabazian was losing this fight early on, I thought, and was able to come out and turn it around, get a really, really big KO victory. He's only 26, which kind of blows my mind. He's seems like he's been in the UFC for a hell of a long time, but able to rally and get a very important win.
Yeah, yeah, because Dobson was piecing him up. He had the faster hands, had the fight like he was accurate with his strikes.
Yeah.
But Shabazian managed to land that big left that rocked Dobson, knocked him to the ground, and got the ground and pound finish. I was surprised. I thought Dobson had this in the bag
Yeah.
until unfortunately he got caught. Got caught with a big gun.
Yeah. Okay. We had a fight with an up and coming prospect that's getting a lot of attention and starting to get some hype. Peyton Talbot was able to get a knockout victory of his own early on into the second round against a really tough kid, the South African Cameron Saman. And Talbot, yeah, I think this kid's raw, but has power and quite a bit of likability. This is a very impressive knockout victory.
Very impressive knockout victory. I thought he was putting together his strikes and his combinations really well.
Yeah.
And you could tell that he was gaining confidence as the fight was going on. I'll give Salmon credit. Super tough. He took some hellacious shots, but eventually all that damage added up and he got taken out in the round 2.
Yeah. 50K for Talbot, and yeah, impressed the boss. So I'm sure he's going to get some pretty impressive fights coming up. Yusuf Zalal was cut from the UFC, had to go back to the regional circuit and impress the brass again, get himself another opportunity. Was able to get 3 victories with the Sparta Combat League, which happens in Colorado, and was able to get himself back into the UFC, facing a tough guy in Billy Quarantillo. And wow, I was really impressed with Zalal. He looked as awesome as he ever has. Was really putting together incredible strikes. Was able to get a very nice rear naked choke and was able to get the victory here. And yeah, impress back in the show after yeah, losing his job for a little while.
Yeah, no, he looked impressive. Rocked Quarantillo with some knees straight up to the chin, and was obviously better than Quarantillo in the grappling department. Yeah. Was able to get him down and get his back really quick, and got the rear naked choke. Just took his time, and when he sunk that in, it was game over.
Yeah, yeah, he looked great on the ground, and very, very quickly was able to get to a dominant position and win it. Another 50K was handed out to the winner, Fernando Padilla, submission victory in the first round over Luis Boya. And yeah, this fight kicked off the main card. Padilla used his length and was able to really show his superiority there in the striking game, and then was able to get, yeah, as I said, get the submission win pretty early on.
Yeah, no, he used his length to his advantage, sniped Pahalo from distance, and then landed 2 lefts, dropped Pahalo, and then I think he got the standing darts finish with those long limbs of his. Right. And it was, he wrapped that up quick. That guy did not have any chance to even react. It was just like, ah, and he was done.
Yeah, it was impressive. Very quick. I do want to just focus a bit more on the fight of the night between Jarno Ahrens and Stephen Nguyen. These guys both brought it big time. I love this fight. It ended up being the fight of the night. Both got 50K for it. Stephen Nguyen is a super tough guy. I loved what Ahrens was bringing, and yeah, this was one of my favorite fights of the year.
No, it was awesome. Great fight. Aaron's calf kick really damaged Nguyen's lead leg, his left leg. He was having a hard time stepping properly. I noticed that nearing the end of that fight. But Aaron's combinations that he was put together were fantastic, terrific. It was the best he's ever looked
Yeah.
in the UFC thus far.
Do you want to mention any other fights on the prelim card? Anything that we want to jump out and talk about?
The only one I want to mention is the Ramos versus Arosa fight because Ramos was winning that fight, but Julian managed to turn it around, caught him in the guillotine choke that it looked like Ramos was about to pop his head out of, but he was unable to do it, tapped, and that was a comeback win for Arosa. Huge win for Arosa.
Yeah, that was huge. Incredible. Yep. We have, as I mentioned earlier, we've got a fight coming up this weekend. We've got another women's fight to for the main event, women's flyweight fight. This is Erin Blanchfield and Manon Fiorot. They both are high up ranked. Blanchfield's number 2 and Fiorot's number 3 in flyweight rankings. Alexa Grasso's the champ, and Valentina Shevchenko is number 1 ranked. I would say the winner of this either gets Shevchenko or Grasso next. And so this is a really important fight for both these girls.
Yep, it's going to be a great fight. They're both going to bring it because there's a lot on the line for both of these ladies.
I'm looking forward to the Vicente Luque Joaquin Buckley fight. Buckley steps in on some short notice. Luque was supposed to fight Sean Brady. Brady had to pull out. So 2 very powerful, tough guys. This will be great. I've always been a fan of Luque, the silent assassin. His last fight was a win over Rafael dos Anjos in August by decision. He's 15-4 in the UFC and 11 knockouts and 8 submissions in his 22 wins. And Buckley has won his last 2. He won against Alex Morono in October by decision. And he's a knockout artist, 12 KOs. And yeah, this will be fun. This one will be great.
It's going to be a banger. It's going to be a banger. Going to be action-packed. I would say fight in the night.
Yeah.
That's going to be fight in the night.
Yeah, I agree. Chris Weidman, not sure if this might be retirement fight for Chris. He's lost his last 2, 4 of his last 5, and 7 out of his last 9. Also, Bruno Silva's lost 2 out of his last 2 fights and 4 of his last 5 as well. So both these guys are in desperate need of a victory, but on their downslide of their careers here. Weidman, former middleweight champion, very decorated history, but finding it a hard go in the last little while.
Yeah, definitely. I kind of agree with you. I think if he doesn't win this fight, I think retirement's going to be either this fight or right around the corner.
Yeah. He hasn't had a win. Weidman hasn't had a win since August 2020. That's a long time. So yeah, tough to see. This is, guy that beat Anderson Silva, probably the greatest middleweight of all time, and had a very decorated career. But yeah, he's just had a tough go in the last little while. It's not been good. I'm looking forward to quite a few of the fights on this card. This is actually, to me, a much better card than this past week. This is from Atlantic City, New Jersey. They haven't had a fight in Atlantic City for a while, so that's always fun. That's a great city, and yeah, it should be a lot of fireworks. There's a lot of guys from New York on the card, a lot of guys from New Jersey, a lot of guys from Philly, all super tough guys.
Yeah, it's going to be great. And also, too, hey, guess what? They're out of the Apex. Yay!
Yeah, that's amazing thing. Bellator had a card on the weekend. I'm trying to pull up their results.
Oh,
See, do I have it there? Oh yeah, here it is. Bellator had their card, took place in Belfast, Northern Ireland. Just a couple notable title fights were on the card. Corey Anderson, former UFC guy, he won the vacant Bellator MMA light heavyweight championship in the main event, and he got a unanimous decision over Carl Moore from Belfast. He had Moore had a armbar submission sunk in pretty deep. I don't know how Anderson got out of it, but he did. And then when it went to the judges' scorecards, he got the unanimous decision there. 50-45 on one card, 49-46 on the other two. And then Parisio Pitbull ended up getting the victory over Canada's own Jeremy Kennedy. He ended up winning by TKO in the third round, and got the featherweight championship belt and continued that. And yeah, it was a heck of a card. I'm impressed. It looked slicker than Bellator normally is with the new PFL money. And yeah, I thought it was a pretty impressive card, top to bottom, and good to see a couple of title fights. Pitbull is definitely one of my favorite fighters to watch. And unfortunately, Jeremy Kennedy, would have been nice to see him win, but Pitbull's super tough. And yeah, to see also another former UFC guy, Corey Anderson, finally get a belt wrapped around his waist, it was great.
yeah, Corey Anderson's been grinding away for a long time, so good to see that he's finally a champion somewhere. And Fabricio is he's just awesome to watch. He's just an exciting fighter to watch. Always entertaining.
Always entertaining, yeah. And then I did want to mention before we go, former UFC champion and one championship title holder, Demetrius Mighty Mouse Johnson, was in the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu Pan American Championships over the weekend. He won gold in his division, which is 154 pounds. Then he competed in the open weight division. He had to fight a 6'3", 248-pound guy. He beat him, and he was able to end up getting the silver medal in that weight class as well. That's incredible to fight a guy 100 pounds. 100 pounds more than you, and a foot taller. Incredible. Did you see some highlights and footage from that fight?
I did. I saw him at one point, the bigger man, literally bench press Demetrius off him. And it didn't matter. Demetrius still scrambled, still got the better of him. It just goes to show there's levels.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter your weight category.
Yeah.
That guy is one of the best mixed martial artists on the planet, and he showed it.
Yeah.
He showed it. He demonstrated
it. Yeah. You've always been such a huge fan, and when I saw some of this footage, I thought, yeah, good way to end it. Good way to talk about him. And yeah, this is a guy that's one of the greatest mixed martial artists of all time. And it's great to see him going and competing in stuff like this too, which, isn't his, longtime forte. So, good to see him really just keeping at it and still showing how incredible he is.
Yeah, he doesn't get enough of his flowers because it's almost like the UFC wants to bury him. And I'm sorry, man, you don't bury greatness like that. That guy is incredible. He continues to be incredible. And I just hope he continues to show the world just how fantastic and utterly dominant he is.
Yeah,
he is.
Agree. Yeah, awesome. Okay, man. Well, that's it. Another edition down, and the week ahead. I hope you don't have to work too hard. I hope the rain doesn't pound down like it did a bit this afternoon. And yeah, we have a good week ahead.
Yeah, me too. And I do know this. I think I get the Friday off.
Nice.
So I know what I'll be doing.
Yeah, more March Madness stuff.
More March Madness. So
Nice.
I'm looking forward to it. Looking forward to it.
Awesome. Well, you'll have to give me updates then all day that day. Let me know.
I will. I will
Yeah.
for sure.
I love it. Okay, man. Have a great night. Thanks so much. Cheers. Bye for now.
You got it. Talk to you later.
All right. Perfect. Okay. That's it. Another edition of Complete Sports Media has come to a close. Love it. Love it. Love it. Hope you guys enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun. We covered a ton of topics and subjects as always. And yeah, can't wait to hear your feedback. Give us some comments and tell your friends, tell your family, subscribe. I want to thank our partners and sponsors as well. Anchor.fm, the easiest place to make a podcast. Just go there and they'll be able to help you out. Verbero, the hockey equipment and apparel company, industry leader in technology, performance, and value, and the V350 stick is a must-have for any hockey player in your midst. Pampas and Possibilities, man, they create some very great West Coast vibes with your home, spruce it up and make it look awesome. Highly recommend them. And Forever Living, the aloe vera company for health and beauty products. We love them around here. And if you want some, you just go to our website and you can purchase some at some discounted rates. So do that. Thanks again. Love you guys lots. Take care of yourself. Have a fantastic week ahead, and we'll talk soon. Bye for now.